Boba Tea's cultural appropriation, by the way, now, if you didn't know, from a Chinese Canadian who stars in Western movies, has also played a Korean, and also speaks English. He didn't want to invest in, this is an actor, didn't want to invest in a boba tea company because it's cultural appropriation. Prized twat.
So just clear it up for me. Whose culture is being appropriated?
Asians, just the universal Asians, apparently.
Okay.
I presume he means Southeast Asians and not, Asians as in like, South Asian, Pakistani, Muslims, those kind of things. I presume when he says Asians, he means Southeast Asians.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. This is insane. Like actually insane. I can't show the actual clip because it is from a TV show and it might get copyright claimed. But basically, Shang-Chi actor, so this is a Marvel movie actor, Simu Liu, was just mercilessly torn apart because he accused a tea company, Boba Tea Company, of cultural appropriation on a Canadian, basically the Canadian version of Dragon's Den that we've got in the UK that we I presume you would have seen at some point, Bo.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. So basically, he took issue with the owners of a boba bubble tea and their assertion that they were disrupting the bubble tea market with their product. After testing a number of the products that owners offered and sharing his reaction, he thought it was fine. So he wasn't really that nice either. He accused the owners of cultural appropriation. So he says the following: I'm concerned about this idea of disrupting or disturbing bubble tea because it's something that's very... There's also an issue of cultural appropriation. There's an issue of taking something that's very distinctly Asian in its identity and quote unquote making it better, which I have an issue with. I'm studying your can and I'm looking for anything that tells me where boba came from. And where boba came from is Taiwan. I started this venture company for a lot of reasons, but really, primarily, to uplift minority entrepreneurs. And not only do I feel like this is not happening here, but just as an FYI, they buy the boba specifically from Taiwan, just as an FYI. So, he would literally be uplifting a Taiwan boba supplier, but let's just skirt around that, I guess, for the narrative. Not only is that not happening here, but I would be uplifting a business that is profiting off of something that feels so dear to my cultural heritage. I want to be a part of bringing boba to the masses. It's fucking tapioca starch, mate. Boba to the masses, but not like this. So for that reason, I'm out. And then he says, it makes me sad how successful this business is. All right. It makes me sad that they're drinking boba with a raccoon with sunglasses. There has to be a willingness to change. And I have to be able to invest in these founders, knowing that the change is possible. So just initially, what are thoughts? Because there's more to this.
Eat shit. Like, screw you. Like, the entire concept of cultural appropriation is absolute nonsense. The idea that the bubble tea market can't be disrupted, nonsense. That's the whole idea of having a free market, is that you put... everything I just heard is ridiculous. Screw him. I wish them all the best. And that's it. Like, he's an idiot. This man's an idiot.
Oh, it gets worse. It does get worse. Oh, FYI, just as an FYI, I don't know if there's a picture of it. There's not. Oh, there's a little bit. He's wearing a suit, by the way.
Oh, cultural appropriation. That's 18th
culture.
Century British. Yeah, cultural appropriation.
Yeah. For those that don't know, we invented the suit. So just as an FYI.
And I just want to say that I appreciate that, and I will utilize my English part of myself to wear those suits in sartorial splendor. So
I see. Well, because this is going to there's more to this story, which just gets funnier and funnier. But what do you guys think, Culture?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous, and he's a fool. And I love it when people put themselves on blast. And this dude did it, and he's going to keep doing it because he's dumb as a box of rocks. And I'm sorry. The guy's a cavalcade of cultural problems, and he somehow mouths off as inaccurately as anybody that you've ever heard. Anyway, continue, my friend.
Does he use telephone or the internet? Because America invented those two things, and so I guess he's culturally appropriating America.
That is the nature of human progress. Is that we stand on the shoulders of giants. Each generation takes what the generations before have done, regardless of where they were born, and builds upon it. That's what the human project is. And to try and say, no, you can't do that because XYZ was created by someone from somewhere is just complete nonsense. It's backward. It's actually backward.
Regressive.
And Taiwan as well. Like, you can't take something because it's unique to Taiwan. Nonsense. I'll take anything they've thought up. No, I will, and won't apologize for it.
Yep.
How about that?
Tapioca doesn't even come from Taiwan, for God's sake.
Does it not? I don't know.
God, it's just anyway. It gets worse. It actually does get worse if you can believe it. So after the episode, Simu decided to go on TikTok and double down on it all. So first and foremost, I want to say I think we hit on a really important discussion about cultural appropriation. You didn't shut up.
Oh, jeez.
What it is, how is something exploitative rather than paying homage and respect? When is that line crossed? And in that conversation, I've experienced a massive wave of positivity and support from every community. And I just think that's really incredible. And I really appreciate that. Well, I personally find that incredibly worrying, actually, that people didn't call you out for the scumbag that you are, but never mind. On the flip side, I've been made aware that the business owners have received a lot of death threats and harassment and otherwise just kind of bullying and dogpiling. And I just want to say that full stop, it's never okay to make these threats. It's never okay to bully and harass online. And I don't mean that the business owners don't deserve valid criticism. And I don't believe that you should not be vocal about your disagreement. But I think we can all agree common sense. There's a line you don't and shouldn't cross. Right. But you are vilifying owners using leftist tactics to a bunch of rabid leftists. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, what did you actually think was going to happen? Cultural appropriation as a concept is retarded anyway. So anyone that believes in it and buys into it is a retard. And it's I mean, what did you expect? What did you actually expect to happen? Obviously, this was going to happen. I mean, it shouldn't have happened, obviously, but obviously it was going to.
Leftists hate this sort of open square of the free exchange of ideas and things. They sort of hate that. Can I just ask something, though? Get it straight in my mind. So he's Canadian, born in Canada, but is of Korean
Chinese.
He's of Chinese, mainland China.
Yep.
Right. Okay.
Chinese Canadian.
But he's sticking up for Taiwan, trying to protect Taiwan.
Apparently so. And also he spent the majority of his career playing a Korean.
I wonder, bloody hell. I wonder what the CCP might think of that. Because if anyone knows the backstory of Taiwan and China, I actually like to call the Taiwanese I call them Chinese. They're the Chinese. What we call China, that's just the communists.
Yeah. We're not wrong.
China are the communists and Taiwan are the real Chinese. So I don't know what that Winnie the Pooh fella, that Xi Jinping, I don't know if he's happy with this guy defending Taiwan.
Probably not.
Defending their honor. So when they sweep in, he can
Shang check for the win. That's all I can say.
And all these weirdos try to put all these different people and groups in their own little boxes. It's like, we're all live in the same world. We're all in the same box. But they try to separate and put everybody in groups in their own little boxes and stuff. And it's like, look, that's where the division happens. You know, Morgan Freeman made a great point on an interview he was having where he was asked, you know, how do you stop racism? He's like, stop talking about it. You know, stop putting everybody in these different groups and dividing us. You know, we're all human. We all live in the same world. You know, everybody's different, but we're also all the same at the same time. You know, so it's ridiculous. And only these weirdo leftists, you know, do this kind of crap. And then they start, you know, doing issuing out death threats and stuff over this to this tea company, you know, for their bubble tea. Like, what?
Well, there's more. So let me just continue the story because it goes on for a little bit. So he concluded and says, let's not cross that line. Let's disagree with each other. Let's critique each other. Let's critique this idea of cultural appropriation. Yes, it's fundamentally retarded. There you go, I've critiqued it. Let's talk about it. But what we're not going to do is threaten people's physical safety and make people feel unsafe and cause them trauma that quite honestly they don't deserve. And then he says, was it misguided? I believe so. Were they a little ignorant? Absolutely. But those are all human things. No, they weren't ignorant at all. Shut up.
And can I ask a question? If this is something from a country he's not from, the fuck is he talking about then?
Yeah.
Well, China, well, China and Taiwan.
Yeah, Taiwan, China, and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, anyway, it progresses.
The real Chinese are in Taiwan. The communists are China, as Bo already said. So there you go.
Yeah. So he says, I truly do not care what you spend your money on. Buy boba or don't, or buy bottled mass-produced boba that feels weirdly appropriated or don't. It literally does not matter to me. All I ask is that you not empty your life savings into altcoins and NFTs.
I got NFTs and altcoins. But my life savings aren't in it.
It's also important to note that the person that did invest in it has now since not invested.
Oh, geez.
So she's removed her investment. The company came out and apologized.
What?
For what exactly?
God. You know what? Yeah. This company deserves to go under. You don't ever apologize to these weirdos. Ever, ever, ever. They should have came out and said, cultural appropriation? Are you freaking kidding me? And came out and you know, freaking punched back at this. Not came out and issued an apology. An apology? What do you got to apologize for? Like, I would have told them, kick rocks. You don't want to invest in us? Kick rocks. This is retarded, this whole cultural appropriation thing. And we're going to keep putting our product out there. If you don't want to buy it or you don't like it, fine. You know, move on, but we're going to keep pushing forward. We ain't apologizing for shit. That's what I would have said.
Quite right. Here.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, remember, it says they have Taiwanese partners that are involved in it all, that they buy their boba from and like all this kind of stuff. But yeah, nah. They apologized. No one's invested now. He got blasted over on Twitter about cultural appropriation, things like that. Like, you know, it's just funny to see an Asian trying to guard what he perceives to be his culture despite being completely westernized. If that's how he really feels, stop starring in Western media, stop playing Korean roles whilst being Chinese, stop speaking English, wearing Western clothing, etc. You don't get to keep culture to yourself whilst willingly partaking in and benefiting from someone else's culture. These people need to stop apologizing to eternal victims, double down and tell them their feelings on the matter are irrelevant. They need to be firmly told no for once in their coddled lives, which is completely on the money. So there you go. That's the story. There's just some other replies there that were funny. You know, aren't you Chinese? Didn't you play a Korean dude?
What was the name of this company?
Sounds like cultural appropriation. Huh?
What was the name of this company?
I don't know, actually.
Bubble tea? Or Boba Bobble?
It was called Boba was their
Boba.
Instagram's just Boba official. I don't know. Doesn't really matter, does it? To be fair, they've apologized, so who cares? But thoughts?
Yeah,
that
someone in the
saga.
chat said
Oh.
the irony of Chinese person complaining about sort of stealing ideas, because of course the Chinese, you know, they
don't ever steal anything.
they don't really respect intellectual property and what's the other thing? Just patent law. They don't respect it.
Literally.
So the irony, there's many levels of irony to this story.
So talk about cultural appropriation. Here's one. They even made their own Land Rover copycat.
Yeah, that's what they do. It's exactly what they do.
Sorry, who made the Defender? That is British. And they were just like, no, we're going to make our own. It's exactly the bloody same as the new one, right? Yeah.
And they do this across the board with so many things. And when usually Western or sometimes Japanese companies take it to court, take it to some sort of international tribunal or whatever, it always ends up with a domestic communist Chinese court ruling. And they always just say, no, we'll allow it. That's just what always happens. Always. So the cheek of this dude, the cheek of it.
Yeah.
What a wrong one.
Super funny. Oh dear, oh dear. I thought you'd enjoy this one, guys. I thought this was a very, very funny one to throw in there. Bloody brilliant. Bloody brilliant.
No wonder Disney hired this guy to star in one of their movies.
Say that again.
I said, no wonder Disney hired this guy to star in one of their movies. Shang-Chi.
Oh, yeah, he fits right in.
Yeah.
Fits right in. Unbelievable. Right, well, we'll shuffle on from that. We got some super chat.